Edison was working on so many projects at the time that he kind of put this to the side, and other people started taking off with his new invention, and they came up with the cylinder that was a removable cylinder that the sound would be recorded on, and you could record any number of songs on each cylinder, and then switch them out, so you weren't like on the tinfoil machine just listening to the one thing you recorded, because the tinfoil was kind of destroyed when you took it off. There was no taking the tinfoil off and putting it back on the cylinder. So Edison was kind of mad that he saw these other people taking off with his invention and doing something more with it. So he worked hard and came up with Edison cylinder players, starting with the Standard, the Home, the Fireside, and the Triumph, and the Gem, and the Concert, and the Opera. And that whole series of phonographs were offered to the general public, and the Edison Standard they made 1.5 million of, the Edison Home 1 million of, and then the Black Gem and Maroon Gem. Maroon Gem's about 1 for every 1,000 Black Gem, and then the Triumph and the Concert, and then the Opera. And the Concert and Opera are two very, very hard to find phonographs. The Opera is one of the hardest to find, and I have all of those in my collection, and they're kind of scattered around the room, and I'll take still photos and put them into this video so you can see all the different machines. And it's taken me many years to put all those this collection together. And over on this level we have the Victors 1 through 6, starting with the 1, and then on the same level of shelves ending with the 6. And the 6 is kind of the holy grail of the Victors, the one down here with the gold corner columns, one that everybody wants and not a lot of people have. And then scattered throughout the shop are a lot of oddities and rare phonographs. Like we have a Phonograph Lamp here, where the base is a horn with feet on it, and you lift up the shade, and inside is a phonograph. And then we have a cylinder player that they used to have in bars, and you listening tubes, kind of like a stethoscope or earbuds, and the bar would have a number of these, and of course you couldn't have songs playing, multiple songs in the same room, so you listened to the cylinder record one at a time, and you put a nickel in there, and then the thing would play a cylinder record, and then the next guy might have a different song that he's listening to. But those are real hard to come by, both of these, the Phonograph Lamp and the coin-operated cylinder player. And over on this wall is the odd spindle size machines. You can see the records that are hanging in the window, and the holes in the records are all different sizes or have something different about them, so you had to, when you bought these machines, the records were specific to each machine, so you couldn't play a normal record on it. So they would have these ads running in newspapers and stuff saying these great prices on these phonographs. Then the people get them and they can't play a record that's normal with a normal hole in it, so they were forced to buy their specific records to the specific machine, and they have as big as 3 inches on this Arantino phonograph that has more of a hub than a spindle in the center. And Here's a first attempt at stereo from about 1905, and that has this big case that's very impressive with this nice decal on the side, but inside is this little tiny motor that barely could play a record, and there's so much weight on the back of the reproducer it kind of ground the record down like a lathe, so they didn't sell very many of these. This is another one that's real hard to come by. And over here we have another phonograph lamp, and then radio came in and started to put phonographs out of business because everyone started to want a radio, not these old-fashioned phonographs. And I have an example of a phonograph here that's got a first attempt at an automatic record changer. And the record would be changed by that. There's a ring around the turntable, and that ring would slide up, pivot up like a hinge, and slide the record down the slot in the bottom of the wood case there, and about 1 out of 3 records broke going down that slot. So as you can imagine, not a lot of these were sold because people didn't want their records to break. And then throughout the shop we have different types of recorded music other than the record players and cylinder players. We have this one is a little gem roller organ, and it plays these cork cylinders that have pins in them. And then we have another cylinder player, but these are brass cylinders, and the pins, pluck the teeth on the cylinder. And then this is a Regina music box here that is plays the metal discs, and they made quite a few of these compared to the Myra music box that I have over here. And here's the Myra that I bought at the Bonanzaville auction that they had when they were raising money after the church burnt down. They needed to replace it and haul another church in, so they were selling some stuff. And let me wind it up here and turn it on. That noise you hear is my lights falling off the side. And I have about 20 discs that go with it that have different songs in it. And then I have a lot of Columbia phonographs up here too. Like that big, that's a B.I. Sterling with the silver horn. And then I made lights out of some of the horns, and these have speakers that are also lights that are in these horns. And so I'll shut this off now, and this might be a good place to shut off the recording as kind of the shorter version of the tour of the little Framer phonograph museum thing I've got here. But I'll before I do that, I'll go around the shop and explain what the phonographs are. Let's see. This is an Edison standard, and this is Edison or a Victor Z, and that's a Victor Monarch Jr., and this is a Victor R. And there's a Victor, this Victor Royal, and actually the one behind the Royal, I mean, it's actually a Columbia BTK. That's somehow I switched the phonographs around, so these two, the Victor Royals over here, and that's the Royal, and this is the BKT Columbia. This is a Columbia Q, and this is a BI Sterling, and there's an Edison Fireside. And here are the Victors 1 through 6, all with original wood horns that are on this level. And up over here is Victor P. P stands for premium. Way back when they used to give away a phonograph if you bought something, you know, major, and that's why the Victor P is premium, because they gave that away. And here is Victor Monarch rigid arm, and this is quite a rare find. It's a transitional machine between when they had rear mount phonographs and front mount phonographs. So you can see up there the tone arm is like a tube, and so in between the rear mount and front mount they made these for a short while, but the tone arm wasn't tapered, it was straight, so these are very hard to come by. And so this gives you a little tour of what we've got here, and I'm hoping that with a lot of editing we can make this a lot better, but I could record it again and give it a try. And anyway, I'll shut this off and do another recording kind of explaining in more detail about where I got a lot of these things.